Today, December 9th, marks International Day of Veterinary Medicine, a day to recognize the critical role veterinarians play in keeping our pets and our communities healthy. And I am joined by Dr. Ezra Ameis, founder of Paw Priority. So, good morning, Dr. Ameis. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well as always. Thank you for having me again.
Of course, of course. So I'm curious, being a doctor of veterinary medicine, it is so hard because your patients can't talk to you like humans can. So at what age did you realize, hey, animals are my thing. I want to get into veterinary medicine. When did that passion and desire kind of start for you? And what does this day mean to you?
I was that little kid that went to the vet office and 8 years old or 9 years old, and I saw this guy standing there in a white coat, and everyone's calling him doctor, and he gets to hug animals all day. And I thought that was the coolest thing that I've ever seen, and I've always thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I was literally that kid that was drawn to it immediately. And as I got older, it kind of wove in and out of my life that I was like, maybe I'll become a vet, maybe I won't become a vet. And I started to realize the cool thing about the profession is this kind of problem solving and the nature of medicine and working with people, and I loved it. And so I'm I pursued it, which was a crazy thing to do. It's a long amount of school, but I'm so happy to be a vet these days, and then B, I'm just so excited for International Day of Veterinary Medicine because I honestly think it's a day to like celebrate all of the people behind the scenes that don't really get enough credit. That means veterinarians, and that means the receptionists, and that means our technicians and all the people that make our veterinary hospitals work.
Absolutely. And, as I previously told you at a different time, my sister is also a veterinarian. So I completely understand, the praise that you guys deserve, but sometimes don't get, again, from the techs to the receptionist to the doctors doing all the work. So thank you very much for that. Of course, many people think, veterinary medicine, okay, my dog is sick, my cat has a cough, whatever, take them in. But your guys' practice and the medicine that you do goes much further than pets. So can you tell me about kind of the community impact and global impact your work has on us?
There's one word that I use to describe this to people, and it's the word zoonotic. And what zoonotic means, it's diseases that we can give animals and they can give us. And people have no idea of how there's a giant interrelationship between human medicine and veterinary medicine. All right. So the first thing that is very obvious, the food supply chain. It's very, very important to give people food that is not loaded with all kinds of diseases. But from a veterinarian standpoint in a small animal hospital, one of the oldest diseases known to man, rabies, is such an important human health problem. That is, it used to be 4,000 years ago in the Bible, you get bitten by a dog, and that is a death sentence. And nowadays, veterinarians are vaccinating for it, so it's not an issue to you or your animal. My God, that is such an important facet of medicine that people have no idea about.
Mhm.
Beyond that, there's a lot of diseases that are zoonotic that we give pets and they give us. Ringworm, I can't tell you the amount of people who come in and show me their skin or their children's skin and then ask me what I think. So I become a human dermatologist at times, disgusting. But that's a true disease that we give animals and they give us. And other problems that are pretty common, GI parasites like hookworms and roundworms, dogs and cats peeing in kids' sandboxes, and then kids getting that. So there's a lot of diseases that veterinarians are just making 100% sure are not leaking into the family from their pets. So it's very, very important stuff.
Okay, Dr. Ezra, I don't even have children of my own yet, but you have just unlocked a new fear with the sandbox and the urine and the kids. You guys take note. That never even crossed my mind.
The nice thing about being a vet is there's very few diseases that animals give us, but they give us some gross ones for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Ezra, what are some of the biggest challenges veterinarians face today, whether it's in a clinical practice, wildlife care, or even public health?
Oh man, this one is a big one. So a veterinary school these days is an unfathomable amount of money, and it gets worse every single year. Whereas a lot of the salaries have actually stayed pretty stagnant. Okay, so like you think about your cardiologist, you think about your human doctors, you think about all the specialists who undergo about the same amount of training, actually pay the same amount of money for school as veterinarians, and then make maybe 5x or 6x what a veterinarian does. So the first real problem for veterinarians is honestly how expensive it is to go through school, which is absolutely unbelievable. Then you get out of school and you realize how hard it is to grind on some of these days. And so the craziest thing coming through COVID all the way to the other side is every vet is burned out and with a significant amount of compassion fatigue. It is so hard for 10 hours a day. And like, I'm not trying to say any other job isn't absolutely difficult, but it's a really difficult job because you want to be there for somebody, you want to be making good decisions. You're at times a psychologist trying to help people through very emotional periods of their life. At times you're a financial advisor trying to advise, okay, here's what we really should be doing. In human healthcare they would do this, but for us, oh, well, could do this, or we could do this, or if you can't do that, I'm going to try and help you through. And so it's a really challenging challenging time and a challenging job, and it just gets honestly harder and harder every year, honestly.
Yeah, like you said, you're really
Yeah,
more than just a doctor to the pets, therapist, financial advisor. I mean, yeah, and 10 hours a day on your feet moving from client to client. I can't even
and
imagine.
it's very rewarding. I don't want to make people think, like I'm grim about the future of veterinary. I love my job, but man, some days are so challenging. And then you go home and you're working through all the things in your head. And so you have to be, I have kids at home. Yeah. And so I have to be present. And it's really tough to work through things and be there for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Ezra, finally,
Yeah.
what's, one message you'd like to share with people, watching about how we can all better support, veterinarians, animal health, and honestly, the animal overpopulation. I know that one, spay and neuter, but I want to hear it from you.
First off, be kind to everyone in the vet hospital, not just the doctor. Please be kind to the receptionists who are trying their hardest to get you in as soon as possible and are in impossible situations. Be kind to the technicians. Like nice to everybody, especially if you're going in the ER, especially if you're there on a holiday weekend. Just try to be kind. It's really, 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 really tough work, especially trying to keep everybody happy. So that's one message. The other message is just be proactive about your pet's health. I can't tell you the amount of times that if we can catch something early, it is so much less costly. It is so much easier to do something early about a problem. So if your pet is experiencing some kind of symptoms, don't wait, 6 months to get it checked
Mhm.
out. Try to get it checked out sooner. People are always worried about this idea that a veterinary is going to be very expensive. It can be, but it's also my job to make sure we can do something for your pet that's at a reasonable amount of money. And so even if you can't do every test in the world, we're still going to come up with a plan for you. So try to go early. That's what I would tell people is be nice to your vet and be nice to the whole hospital and try to go early for problems.
Awesome. And again, spay and neuter, everybody, please.
Spay and neuter. Spay and neuter.
Yes,
Can I
spay and
mention
neuter,
one thing about spaying and neuter? People
please.
ask me about spay and neuter all the time. Yes, it's important that dogs are not having other dogs and cats are not having more cats. But animals that are spayed or neutered live about a year and a half to 2 years longer. Okay, so even if you don't care about your dog getting other dogs pregnant, your dog is going to live longer. Spay or neuter your pet. That's it.
Dr. Ezra, thank you so much for your time. And to our viewers out there, make sure you say thank you and do something special for your veterinarian, their receptionist, their vet techs today, but also the whole year. So thank you, Dr. Ezra, and thank you for all the hard work that you do and for keeping the animals safe.
Thank you, and thank your sister as well too.
I will.